Hello everybody, this is BR here, and today I want to talk about a phenomenon that has everybody kind of riled up nowadays, especially with casual shooter games. And this phenomenon has to do with how sweaty games have gotten nowadays. And it really does seem that you just can't have a casual match anymore in any modern FPS. That is, of course, unless you're just not good at a game and then skill-based matchmaking takes over, which consequently makes it a lot more appealing for an average skilled player to want to play in these lobbies, creating Smurf accounts, and in turn, ruining the experience for these lower skilled players. Which, of course, if you had the option to have a casual match compared to always having a sweatfest, I think most people would actually prefer just playing the game casually. And most people point the blame to skill-based matchmaking and companies who want to appeal to a greater masses, which makes absolute sense. You don't want new players to just be getting rolled over and over again. You want them to meet other people who have also just started playing the game or aren't that good, so that way they could have at least a little bit of fun and then spend money on microtransactions. And no community is more pissed off about this compared to the Call of Duty community. I mean, Call of Duty has been around for such a long time, and for things to change with the market, it only makes sense that they'd be the ones who are most aware of the issue. And so, time and time again, you'll see a lot of articles and videos of people talking about how much skill-based matchmaking should be toned down or completely removed from Call of Duty in order to return to the glory days of back when Call of Duty was fun for them. Now, notice how I said fun for them. They're not complaining about the game. It's not the game that's at fault here. It's the matchmaking system, apparently. The sweatiness of the game just makes it exhausting to the point that it's just no longer fun. And honestly, I can only agree with them. The last Call of Duty that I played was Modern Warfare 2019, and I do remember it having this kind of issue before there too. After back-to-back matches of just a complete sweatfest, I'd reminisce about Black Ops 2 and remember just how fun it was just being able to go into a match and not have it be so frustrating. Being able to experiment with all the weapons and still having relatively a good time and not having to go against people who have min-maxed every single kind of loadout. But what if I told you that the matchmaking system isn't the problem, or at the very least, the majority of the problem? And in fact, the issue is something that we just can't control at all. Now, in order for me to explain it, I need to tell you a story about when I was playing TF2 competitive. During a late night pickup game, a guy started talking about his experiences of playing competitive TF2 back in its early days, and I'm talking about maybe 2007 to 2009. Now, one of the things that stuck with me was when he said that invite players in 2009 are pretty much just open players today. In other words, the very best players back in the old days of TF2 are pretty much the worst players nowadays. Now, if you're wondering how can that be, well, take this into consideration. Over the years, TF2 players have studied and dissected TF2's mechanics in order to understand it better and get better at the game. And this information spread, making the average skill level just a little bit higher. And over the course of 10 years, this skill level only increased even more. And that is what I think happened in general with FPS games. As the FPS market matured, the average skill level rose, and because of that, it is safe to assume that the very best of the best players of Call of Duty back in its heyday are pretty much just the average player today. And because the average player base is usually the biggest player base of any kind of game, not just first-person shooters, it has contributed to the sweatiness of lobbies just increasing ever more. Your average player just doesn't run out in the open anymore spraying and praying. Your average player nowadays takes cover and uses height advantage and other mechanics. Not only that, but another part that I think that sharply increased the average skill level was the growth of the video game market as a whole. And because of that, it exponentially increased the number of good players out there in the FPS genre. So what do we do with this information? I mean, we can't just ask people to do bad. People like to win. Well, I just don't think there's ever going to be a good blanket solution to everything. But from what I've seen and what seems to be working for most games out there at the moment is having a good ranked mode. Having a dedicated ranked mode seems to do the best at the moment, since you have a specific place to play casually and a specific place to sweat your balls off. And keep in mind that I do say a good ranked mode. If the ranked mode isn't good or rewarding, then all these sweaty players are going to go back to casual, causing the issue that we're seeing on Apex at the moment. And now you have the casual base being extremely pissed off at Respawn, as now almost every game in casual is just a sweat fest. So what do you guys think? Do you have any solutions? Make sure to tell me in the comments down below. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and consider subscribing if you like this kind of content. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.